So now I want to talk to you about how you can use the definition of comics to create very original ideas for your own comic. This is Will Eisner, who is like the grandfather of comics. He defined comics as sequential art, and in my opinion, the art can be anything. It can be sculpture, ink, watercolor, painting, pencil, mosaic, anything. And then afterwards, Scott McCloud came along. This is a British joke. We say in a nutshell when we are making something simple, so I have literally put him in a nutshell, doesn't matter. But I will tell you a little bit about how he defined the comics. So he talked about, he said Will Eisner's definition doesn't work. So he came up with a new definition: plural in form, used as a singular verb, juxtapose pictorial and other images in deliberate sequences intended to convey information and or to produce an aesthetic response in the viewer. If you can But Scott McCloud's definition didn't help to clear up matters all that much. Today we have comics, graphic novels, visual narratives, authorial illustration, sequential art, and bande dessinée, manga, you know, everything. You guys may think of comics like on a paper, you read them in a box, speech balloons. That's the traditional comic. But if you look at comics according to Scott McCloud or Will Eisner, the definition of sequential art or juxtaposed positions, you can start thinking of comics as many different things. So I'm going to show you some pictures, and I want you to start thinking, is it a comic? Does it show narrative in sequences? Or is it not a comic? Okay, so first image, yes or no? Come on, everybody. Is it a comic? Is it not a comic? Not all stained glass windows are comics, but some have a story which is told in a sequence across different pictures. So maybe the story of Jesus or Mary, if it's told sequentially, then yes. But if it's just some designs of religious imagery, and it hasn't got deliberate sequence conveying a message, then I don't think it is a comic. Okay, let's see. Okay, everybody. This is Warren Craig's autobiographical brick. He starts off as a baby fetus, and then here he is cremated in a vase, yeah? It tells his life in sequence, but instead of pictures in sequence, he is using a brick, a 3D object. Okay. Shintaro Kago, is it a comic? Yes or no? Everybody
Comics
has
and comics.
Okay. This is interesting because manga you read top right to bottom left. English you read top left to bottom right. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. This is like a 3D object, but he just has drawn it. It's not an actual sculpture. But as you turn it round, the story becomes something different. So you see the people's faces here. When you see them from behind, they have people crawling out the back of their head. Yes or no? Is it a comic? It was interesting because when I showed this image, I thought, yes, this is a comic. You can take photographs of comics and tell a story sequentially. But then I looked at the picture and I saw it was one picture of a bar and they just divided it into 3. They weren't using the sequence to tell a story across time. This, is it a comic, yes or no? This is what we call a hyper-comic. It means you have control as a reader in what path you take in the narrative. So you start off here.
Which light is this?
And then you can go up, or you can go down, or you can go this way. Just like in life, it is your choice. Have any of you read Choose Your Own Adventure books? When you fight a dragon, if you want to If you want to fight the dragon, you go to page 4. If you want to run away, you go to page 28. Do you have those books?
Были такие книжки у вас?
You don't know. Ah.
У тебя была?
You've read. Yeah. Do you know the name?
Ты знаешь, как они называются?
Ну, есть русские аналоги просто таких.
Какие?
Я не помню, ну, чародеи и так далее, как-то что-то в таком духе.
It's an example of how you can play a part in reading the story yourself and make a decision. This is an example of Indian comics, and it shows how different cultures and different countries look at comics in completely a new way. The Indian people looked at comics and they said, our life is not in little boxes, our life is open, so we are not going to draw our comics in little boxes. And they said, speech bubbles don't mean anything, we're going to do it differently. So you can see here, when someone said something lovely, it is like a bird, but if they say something angry, it is like a scorpion's tail. So each country, manga, America, bande dessinée in France, they bring something new to the medium. Is it a comic? Yes or no? Hand up. You say no, not a comic. This is, actually, they are very big frames painted by two brothers, and they tell stories in pictures and words across different frames. This is only one example of a comic, but it is painted with oil paint. Is it a comic? Yes or no? This is a British artist called Karrie, who likes to dress up like a woman, but in an artistic way. I think there is a narrative it's like a big carpet, like a tapestry, but I think there is a story in it, but it's not told in a deliberate sequence, maybe. This is a comic artist, a typographer called Ray Fenwick, and he tells stories, but only writing in words. And he does some beautiful stories, conversations in speech bubbles, for example, but no pictures, all typography, but they tell stories sequentially. This is my friend, she is an artist called Karen Rubens, and she made these cards here, which you can see, like playing cards, which we will play with later on. And you can hand them out in any order and tell different stories depending on the order you get. These are some other ideas of what could be a comic. Is it a comic? Yes or no? No. But imagine if you could, on a computer game, if you could go inside a panel. For example, if you could go into this panel and you could move around on a computer game and you could, speak to the policeman or jump into the river. And this is where video games and digital stories is where the future is with narrative. People are reading on iPad, Kindle, they're reading digital stories, and comics transfer very well. You can be interactive and you can control your own way you move through the comic. So in the future, instead of reading, I don't know, a famous story in Russia, Little Red Riding Hood?
Yeah.
Do you have? Instead of reading Little Red Riding Hood, maybe you will, in a video game, go inside the story and meet the wolf and that sort of thing. This is a comic sculpture I made. It is about a woman who is with her husband for all her life, but in the end he dies, and so she turns him into a hat stand. This is a comic, a sculpture again, pulled across 3 panels. A man and wife sleeping in bed, but it's like he's murdering her, she's carrying him. This was one when instead of panels, I turned them into frames on a wall, and the character moved in between, climbed into the different frames. And this was a doll's house, which you read, remember, top left to bottom right? So you read top left, 1, 2, 3, to bottom right, like that, by looking through the windows. And this is a comic I made on the iPad. Do you know all about the iPad? Yeah. You read it, it uses something in the iPad called the accelerometer. which can tell what angle it's tilting at. And you read the comic by moving it up there, as if you're looking through a window, and then moving it down to read the second panel. You get lots of exercise from reading it. So now I want you to start making some stories of your own, okay? I am going to give you these, but maybe you have to share them with the people next to you. I want you to take, let's say, 2.
То есть у вас есть, допустим, 2 карточки, у соседа есть 2 карточки. Вы обмениваетесь и придумываете историю. Поднимите руку, у кого есть уже готовая история.
Жил-был злой злодей, он хотел поссорить 2 лучших друзей. Они поссорились, один расстроился. Потом девушка рассказала всю маме, и она осталась довольна. Он увидел картину и решил отправить работу. Забыть все прошлое, начать с
Смотрите, как здорово. То есть у вас карточек мало, а история такая длинная получается. То есть между первой карточкой и второй вы сами придумываете, что случилось. Например, между тем, как девочка разговаривает со своей мамой, а мальчик смотрит, видит гору по телевизору, мы же не знаем, и как он вдруг уезжает, там, не знаю, в Африку, и все в его жизни отходить, да. Это же не сказано, мы же не видим, как он на самолет садится и улетает. Нет, вы сами это придумали. Это самое главное в комиксе. Как началась история?
Жил один мужчина с женщиной. Он ей сказал, мы раздаемся, и она плакала сегодня ночью, и она его убила. Потом она полетела в Англию, и при этом в Англии она встретила свою подружку, и подружка ей подарила подарок.
So, anybody else? Did anyone want to? At the back.
Была очень умная, зовут, как это называется? Ботаник, короче, девочка ботаник. И был мальчик, который был не такой умный, я думаю, он был довольно глупым, но ему нравилась эта девочка, а она, так как она считала, что она ботаник, самая умная, она его всячески избегала и была к нему довольно холодна. А однажды этот мальчик очень постарался и получил высшую оценку, тут А со звездочкой. Прибежала та девочка-заучка и сказала: ах ты негодяй, ты изменял мне с другой умной девочкой, и кинула в него цветком. В общем, она его очень сильно приревновала.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to start you thinking about different ways which you can tell your own stories and play around with the medium. My challenge to you is to take one piece of white paper and I want you to tell a story of a conflict between 2 people using only one bit of paper. I want you to think, what am I going to do with this piece of paper? Am I going to fold it? Maybe. And then show a story as you unfold the paper? Or am I going to just rip it and tell a story on 2 bits of paper? Or am I going to cut a hole in it and you can look through to another piece of paper? Am I going to use a pen? Am I going to use a pencil? What will help you to tell the story the best way about the conflict between 2 people? That's my challenge to you if you decide to take it.